everybody, and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. So this is Saturday, and we don't get up very early on Saturday. So it tends to be we do jobs in the house. And what I'm trying to do is that sort of everybody takes part in that. Then we usually have lunch. My daughter goes to dancing, and then sometimes we go into a city which is sort of quite a distance from us, but it's got a lot of things to do and a lot of shops. So this morning I decided I need to do some washing, so I brought all the washing downstairs. So this is washing for the three of us, and I put on a coloured load. I think I'll probably be doing 2 coloured loads and 1 white load. My husband had been he'd got breakfast ready and he'd started tidying up the dining room by the time myself and my daughter were up and downstairs. And he'd also brought the table mats in and wiped them and put them on the draining rack, which you can just see them on the side. So then I decided to do some washing up to continue what he started. So you can see that I've put some things away, but you'll be pleased to see there's not really that much washing up to do. I've got the morning things and a couple of extra glasses. There's a lovely bowl at the side of my drying rack there, just above my washing machine. Really nice bowl that my dad brought round for me. I just haven't decided what to do with it yet, or how I'm going to use it. It's really nice. I haven't got any space in my cabinet where I sort of display items. It's a bit too small for a fruit bowl, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I do need to find a home for it, because I don't want it to sit on the work surface, because what will happen is it'll start getting filled up with things, and then it will start looking messy. Also by my kettle you can see I've got a little glass crystal cream jug, a little crystal container, and 2 other containers which I've got to find a home for, if I keep them. So we'll see what I do about that. That's the only thing, isn't it, when people give you like nice things, you've then got to find somewhere to put them. So I'm cutting up my health cards there. That was when we were, the United Kingdom was part of the rest of Europe, which suddenly, sadly, we're not part of the European Union anymore. So I was then just cutting up our health cards for when we go on holiday, because they've got no purpose anymore. So I cut them into pieces just because they've got our personal information, our date of birth, etc, etc. Also, good news is you saw me get a plastic bag there. I used the little tip that a couple of people told me about, using the washing baskets to move things around the house. So I brought that washing basket downstairs from upstairs, because there was loads of things in my daughter's bedroom, etc, etc, that just need their home. It's actually downstairs, or things that needed to be put in the bin. So in that basket I've got things for charity, things for the bin, and things for recycling. So I was just going through and sorting that out. So there's some my daughter's toys that she was ready to get rid of, and some other bits that just need to, just be got rid of, which is good. So I'm starting another charity shop bag. I'm just going to need to check that actually, because my husband was going to take that massive great bag and box and another bag to charity, and he forgot. And I thought he put it in the car, but I've just got out of the car and I haven't seen it there. So I'm going to check. He must have taken it. That's great if he has. So all the washing there on my radiators is now dry. I know lots of you don't like that everything hanging around. I agree with you. But it's just trying to get it dry in this weather. Today has really rained the majority of the day, and quite heavy rain as well. Where I live, we don't get that much rain, but it's been really, really heavy today. So you can see there's a bag there for the charity. I've got another bag which is absolutely full of felt tips and crayons. My daughter has got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of felt tips and crayons, and it gets so that she's got so many that you can't actually find them. So like for instance, if you want to find a green crayon, you have to hunt through like this massive great chest of crayons and felt tips. So I went through it all and got rid of loads that we don't need. Also then my dad brought me round loads of hooks to go on the back of the doors, but I think he's possibly given me more than the number of actual doors that I've got. Oh, you can see there I've got one of the tie-dye items. And then at this point we had a knock on the door from Jehovah's Witnesses. So I had to cut the video because I stood and chatted to them for quite some time. They invited me to their church, so I invited them to mine. And I apologised to them that I couldn't swap leaflets, so I took one of their leaflets. So a couple of people have said about getting rid of this little table. I'm not going to get rid of this little table, but I am going to get rid of the table that's opposite. The table opposite, I think, is around like 1930s, and I bought it for £1. And I think I could probably sell it for 20. But then when I bought it in my house, I decided I quite liked it, but I've decided that I'm going to get rid of it, because all that happens is people come in from outside and they just dump everything on the table. So I don't want that. This little table belonged to one of my husband's relatives, I think like his great grandmother, and it's actually a little sewing box. But I had a little top, you see, made to match the curtains. It does open up, and it's full of CDs and DVDs that honestly we've not gone to, say, for 6 years. So I said to my husband, which of these can we get rid of? And then he started going through and saying all the ones he wanted to keep. And I was like, but we've not watched these for 6-7 years. So I got rid of most of them. There's also some tapes in there, and I thought, okay, a few tapes that people have recorded for me, but I decided that I would listen to them on my system, and then I'm going to get rid of them. So I shook the little sort of tablecloth thing outside, and then I decided that I put things back, but very carefully, and only the main things. So there I've got my telephone, money box in case I need loose change just as I'm about to leave, my collodial silver, and my little candle smelly thing, which I light every so often. I'm also quite pleased because one of our neighbours gave us some hollyhock seeds. There were some for me and some for my mum, and then I couldn't remember where I put them, but I found both the envelopes in that pile of stuff that was on the table, so that's good. I can give my mum some of those hollyhock seeds because my neighbour died, and it was really sad. And the summer after he died, his hollyhocks in his garden were bigger and better than I've ever seen them in my whole life. And I mentioned it to his daughter, and his daughter came over and collected some of the seeds and gave them to me. So I'm going to grow some hollyhocks, and I'll think about our dear neighbour. He's such a lovely man. So you can see there's quite a lot of bits and pieces on that table, things that I just don't really need to keep. A couple of things that I bought and I wish I hadn't. I'm just not buying things at all now. So some of you have recommended some different ideas to me about different storage solutions, etc., etc. But I just don't want to go down the route really of buying more stuff, buying stuff to put stuff in that I don't really need. And of course, many of you know, I didn't really realise that I had too much stuff until I set this channel up. I just thought that I'm really untidy. But of course, it's so much easier to be tidy when you've got less things. And that box that's just there, that's going to be used for mugs. So I'm collecting all the mugs for Girl Guides. So there's some that just need to go straight to the charity shop because unfortunately they're damaged, or things that we can't use as prizes, like I said the other day, because they say to my dear sister, which would be a bit disappointing to get that as a prize filled with sweets, wouldn't it? So we're going to give them to the charity shop. But all in all, I think I've collected about 110. So I'm really pleased about that. So you can see there's still a pile of bits and pieces under the table. So slowly get through all of that. I've actually got some things on my doorstep which I hate. I've got the container that I had the rabbit in. That's still on my doorstep. That needs to go in the shed. And I've got a bag of mugs that ended up getting wet, unfortunately, that need to go to the charity shop, and a box of mugs that need to go to the charity shop. So I have created myself a bit more work, but I have to keep focused in the fact that I'm raising all this money for the Girl Guides. So that pleases me. I'll be able to take them out on a trip or do some different things. So the other bits and pieces that my idea was to I just want that clear under the table rather than all the hodgepodge of different things. There's some things that all need to go somewhere else though. So I've got some auto injectors, like the EpiPens that are out of date, that need to go to the pharmacy. You probably saw me a minute ago was picking up little paper vouchers. That's somewhere that we go in the summer, and if you buy a photograph, they give you a free entry on one of the rides. So I collect all of those, so I need to keep them. And then I did some on the dining room, so just collecting the washing which is dry. And then after I'd done all the work in the hall and in the kitchen, the washing machine had stopped. So I thought I'll get all of that out on the radiators while the radiators are warm and get that all dry. In theory, it might be dry before I get the second load out, which is good. So I'm hanging that all on this radiator and the radiator opposite. This room is very warm because the radiators are quite big and quite powerful for the size of the room. Also, I get the dryer out. It feels like just the other day that I put the dryer away, doesn't it? And now it's out again. But very soon it's going to be more spring-like with warmer weather and breezes, and I'll be able to get all my washing on the line, which I'm very much looking forward to. So that'll be nice. And then I'll come back in a minute. I've got some different bits for my beetles, which I mean, they're supposed to live for 2 weeks. That's what I was told, and I've now had them for about, I don't know, 8 weeks, I should think. And then all the mealworms that I've got to decide what I'm going to do with them, because now we don't have the chickens. And then I put another load of washing on, and then I do a little bit more in the kitchen. I think the key thing is, like when you've got quite a small kitchen like I have, and storage is so precious, I think the big thing that happened was that when we moved from our other house, which was much smaller, we'd extended the kitchen. So when we got our other house, it had got like an old coal like scuttle place, and like an outside toilet. And we knocked it all through and had quite a big kitchen for a terraced house. It was a terrace house from the 1800s, nice house. But so, you know, we took everything from all of those cupboards and then tried to squeeze it into this kitchen. And this kitchen does have fewer cupboards. So you're right, we need to cut down. And then after we dropped my daughter off at dancing, we decided to go and get one storage box. So I know I said I don't want to buy storage, but the idea that I did think was really good was to take the items that I'm keeping in my daughter's room that she doesn't wear anymore because she can't fit, you know, things that I told you that I wanted to keep for now, and just put in a storage box and take it out of her room. I thought it was a good idea because she struggles to find items of clothing. She struggles to decide what to wear. She always needs my assistance. So I thought, well, if I get just a box, fill it up of all the things that we don't want in her room, and then I can put it in the loft storage, which we do have a little bit of space there. I've got loads of other her clothes in there, so each time I look at them I get rid of more. And someone else was saying this to me, that sometimes, you know, you're not ready to get rid of things at the time, but revisit it in 3 months' time, and then you sort of, your memories either fade or you don't feel so attached to things. And then we went into the city with my daughter and did some shopping for Mother's Day. And while we were there, the city was really busy and there was this band playing, which I hope you'll enjoy. Then it started raining and the band stopped playing, and we came home. Went to Tesco, actually, the supermarket, before we came home, and there you can see the container that I bought. So I filled it up full of the things that I want to keep, but the things that I want to take out of the room. And then I did a general sort of tidy up my daughter's room again. So I take the plastic container out of the room in a minute and sort all that stuff from behind the doorway. So behind that door, she's got one of her suitcases. There's a couple of bags there, but I noticed that there was a bag for brownies there, and I looked in the brownies bag. So if you don't have brownies where you are, that's the group for girls before Girl Guides. And in the brownies bag was like the brownies hoodie. So I thought I might try to sell the brownies bag, the brownies hoodie, and also the brownie teddy bear that she's happy to get rid of. And then she can put that money in her bank account. So there's other sort of bags and bits behind there. So I pulled everything out to see if anything could go. And there were a few bits and pieces that could go into the bin actually. So that's good. So there's a couple of things that I can get rid of again. I didn't feel like I actually created that much space by taking all these clothes. So I think what I actually need to do is go back to the drawer, take everything out and fold it in a slightly different way. A couple of people have said not to fold things like on top of each other, but to like file clothes, and then it's easier to get the items. So I need to look at that method. Or like roll items of clothing. I don't really know what people mean, so I do need to look into that. At the moment, I think how everything's piled up also makes it quite difficult for my daughter to find. I think also, like with things like she's got like perhaps 20 pairs of tights. I think what happens is there's probably some tights that's like from age 9, some that are age 12, and then she'll hunt through the drawer to try and find tights which fit her better. So I just also need to go through that chest of drawers and just decide what things we need to keep, because we just don't need to keep everything. On the pile on the right are school uniform items. So she has to have like an art coat, which is that green thing that's thrown on the floor. She's been borrowing an art coat, and I said, well, why are you borrowing one when you've got your own one? I hadn't realised that she was actually wearing one. So she's going to take that into school and put that in her school locker. So every time she's got art, she can just go to her locker and take it out, which is quite good. One less thing I have to keep in the house and store. So you can see there's quite a lot behind the door. I sort of store things there. So it's good that I managed to get rid of a few items, but other things I need to find another place for, because most people probably wouldn't have a whole load of things behind their door. Also, that nice little suitcase that she's got there, that's an Ariel suitcase, or Ariel, depending upon where you live. The mermaid. And that was bought by my mother-in-law. She got it second hand, but it's really sweet. But now my daughter's too tall for it. So I think we need to make a decision to say, well, do we get rid of it? Do we use it for storage and we could put some of the clothes in it, couldn't we? Put it in the loft room, or should we just get rid of it? Maybe it's best just to get rid of it, because I don't think we'll have a purpose for it in the future. I've also realised we've probably got too many towels hanging up. She's got 3 towels hanging up at the moment, then a towel for her hair and a dressing gown, 3 swimming bags and a load of other things hanging on the door, which you probably don't need all that. She's got a few items which you just use straight after getting out of the swimming pool, like sort of towel and dresses. I don't think they're really very good actually, because when you're wet from the swimming pool, it's really difficult to put them on. And then just as you start getting warm and dry, then you have to take them off to get dressed. So I probably wouldn't get one of those again. Quite handy for holidays, really. That's the main thing. And at the moment, that suitcase, that's what it has inside it. It has holiday games, beach games, things to play in the sea. So that's what it's being used for at the moment. So it does have a purpose. It's not sitting there empty. So I get all that done and put that all away. And then, unfortunately, my battery is quite low on my phone, so you don't get to see the end of it. The end of it, I take the plastic box out, tidy a few more things up, and yeah, the floor is nearly clear. But then I looked up, and the battery on my phone had stopped. So I hope you've all had a lovely Saturday. I just want to say, if you've got this far, I thought it's quite interesting with the number of views my videos are getting, because they're getting from around 1,000 to about 2,000-3,000. So not many really, but a lot more than what I would ever expect. But my most recent video, which I spent ages trying to come up with a sort of a nice front page, which I thought would make people click on it, has only got 600, which I thought was quite interesting. I thought that would have made more people look at it, but actually I think people prefer my random front pages. What do you think? If you've got this far, please let me know. And also, I've got 1% followers that are Italian. If you're watching this from Italy, I'd love to know where in Italy you're watching it from. So in Easter, we're going to Efteling in Holland, and in the summer, we're planning to go to Rome, Naples and Abruzzo. So if you're anywhere there, then I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, have a fantastic weekend and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.